You emerge from your time machine and find yourself standing on the windswept shores of ancient Australia, 5,000 years in the past. But the first thing that strikes you isn't the sweltering heat, the scent of eucalyptus in the air, or the strange, primordial landscape. It's the silence. A silence that hangs heavy in the air, where instinct tells you there should be screams. Because what you're about to witness will forever alter your understanding of what it means for a place to be dangerous. Beneath the dappled shadows of colossal eucalyptus trees, a shape looms massive as a truck, its reptilian eyes fixed on you with cold, surgical intent. It's armed with venom potent enough to bring down a dozen elephants, and it's not alone in this world. The modern Australia, with its infamous funnel web spiders, taipan snakes, and saltwater crocodiles, is child's play compared to what ruled this continent during the Pleistocene. This was a time when evolution seemed to throw caution and mercy to the wind, indulging its darkest creative whims. And Australia was its masterpiece of terror. Meet Megalania. Its formal name, Varanus priscus, means ancient monitor, but that's like calling a nuclear warhead a firecracker. This wasn't just the largest lizard that ever lived. It was a venomous behemoth, stretching up to 7 meters longer than a city bus, and equipped with teeth like serrated blades. Imagine a Komodo dragon scaled up into a cold-blooded apex predator with a venom delivery system designed to incapacitate prey from the inside out. But the real terror? This creature wasn't a sluggish brute. It could run fast, nearly 11 kilometers per hour. That's faster than most people jog. Now picture a quarter-ton lizard, armed with toxic glands and bone-crushing jaws, sprinting after you. It could swim, it could climb, and worst of all, it could wait. Motionless, silent, lurking in ambush. Its skull was a fortress of bone, with a ridge above its eyes like a built-in battering ram. Fossil evidence shows it was no opportunistic scavenger. Megalania was a tactician. Its worn teeth and jaw mechanics point to deliberate, calculated hunting, preying on the titanic marsupials of the age, which often outweighed modern bison. It didn't just kill them, it dismantled them. But if Megalania was Australia's reptilian dragon, then Thylacoleo carnifex, the marsupial lion, was its evolutionary paradox. When paleontologists first unearthed its fossilized bones, they thought it was a hoax. Its anatomy didn't just break the rules, it rewrote them. Picture a predator with the slicing power of a lion, the ambush skill of a leopard, and the skeleton of a wombat on steroids. Despite its name, it wasn't a lion at all. It was a marsupial, a relative of koalas and kangaroos, yet it had somehow evolved into one of the most efficient predators Earth has ever seen.
Its ancestors were gentle herbivores, but somewhere along the evolutionary timeline, its lineage veered into nightmare territory. The transformation was so extreme, so radical, it still confounds evolutionary biologists. And the first thing you'd notice about Thylacoleo, not its hulking 130-kilogram build, though. It was built like a heavyweight fighter, but its teeth. Forget fangs? Its front incisors were overgrown ivory sides, and in the back of its mouth were bolt-cutter premolars capable of shearing bone like paper. Analysis shows it had the strongest pound-for-pound bite of any mammal that ever lived. Stronger than lions, stronger than wolves. Its skull was a purpose-built engine of destruction, with bulging jaw muscles and reinforced structure. But its most chilling weapon wasn't in its jaws, it was in its hands. Each forelimb bore a thumb claw, retractable and curved like a switchblade, up to 15 centimeters long, longer than your smartphone, and shaped to slash open flesh with surgical precision. These weren't climbing claws. These were disemboweling tools. Thylacoleo wasn't fast in the conventional sense. Its spine was too rigid for sprinting. But what it lacked in speed, it made up for in stealth and power. It was a master ambush predator. Fossils show it scaled trees with ease, then waited for prey to pass below. Picture this, a diprotodon the size of a rhinoceros meandering toward a water hole, unaware that death is perched just above. When the moment came, Thylacoleo would drop like a living thunderbolt, claws extended, jaws primed, body locked into a devastating killing posture. Cave sites across Australia show this scene played out again and again, its scratch marks still etched into the stone. But the predators were only half the story. Their prey were equally bizarre. Take Diprotodon optatum, a giant marsupial that looked like a wombat supercharged with growth hormones. It was nearly 3 meters long and weighed over 2 tons. This wasn't just the largest marsupial ever, it was a biological bulldozer. Its skull was so immense that early European settlers used them as livestock troughs. Its teeth could grind bark like sanders, and its claws dug burrows large enough to hide a small car. Fossilized teeth reveal they were capable of consuming virtually any plant matter, including whole trees. They didn't just graze, they transformed the land. Herds of Diprotodon reshaped entire ecosystems, stripping forests and digging massive pits. Fossil tracks show they moved in protective family units because even at 2 tons, they had enemies. Those enemies sparked an evolutionary arms race. As herbivores like Diprotodon grew tougher, predators like Megalania and Thylacoleo became even more lethal. Some Diprotodon fossils still bear the claw marks of their attackers' jagged gouges carved by massive, muscular limbs. Meet Genyornis newtoni, a 2-meter tall flightless bird weighing over 200 kilograms. Think of an emu, then inflate it to the size of a grizzly bear, arm it with a crushing beak, and give it the attitude of a territorial dinosaur. Or Procoptodon golia, a kangaroo that walked upright, stood over 2 meters tall, and had claws like meat hooks. Unlike modern kangaroos, it didn't hop, it strode across the land like a bipedal colossus. In the waterways, Palomnarchus lurked, a crocodilian that defied all expectations. Unlike modern crocodiles that lie in wait beneath the surface, Palomnarchus was built for land pursuits with legs directly under its body. A 5-meter-long sprinting reptile with crushing jaws. Think of it as a crocodilian version of a wolf. Even the skies weren't safe. Although Haast's eagle haunted New Zealand, Australia had its own aerial terrors plus snakes like Wanambi naracortensis, a 6-meter-long python capable of constricting prey the size of cars. For millions of years, this was the reality. A world where everything was either a monster or trying to survive one. But then something began to shift. Roughly 350,000 years ago, climate change crept in not as a sudden cataclysm, but as a slow, inevitable death. Lakes shrank, forests fragmented, grasslands withered, the continents slowly dried out, and the ecosystems that had supported megafauna began to crumble. The biggest herbivores disappeared first, unable to find food. Their predators soon followed. By 46,000 years ago, most of the giants were gone. But the final blow didn't come from drought or fire. It came on 2 legs. Humans arrived in Australia around 65,000 years ago, and what they found was a land of giants. Archaeological evidence shows they not only encountered these megafauna, they hunted them. But this wasn't a swift extinction. It was complex, subtle. Aboriginal Australians lived alongside these creatures for thousands of years. Managed vegetation through fire, passed down stories of giant beasts that match fossil evidence almost exactly. Eventually, though, climate pressures and human influence combined into a perfect storm. By 40,000 years ago, the age of monsters ended. Today's crocodiles, kangaroos, and lizards are echoes, smaller, quieter echoes of a world where the ground shook beneath ancient predators and prey. Fossils continue to surface, and with them, clues to a lost world we're only just beginning to understand. Some scientists now believe a few species may have held on longer than we thought, surviving in isolated pockets. New genetic tools could one day resurrect their blueprints, not to bring them back, but to better understand the awe-inspiring, terrifying power of evolution. Because in the grand story of life on Earth, Australia once played host to its darkest chapter. And if you stand under the stars in the outback and listen closely, you might still hear it whispering across the ancient stone, reminding you that monsters were real.